Chapter 11. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Although modern science and technology cannot solve the various minor problems in his mother's body, but Chengyu is different. He has a way to easily eliminate these problems. Medicine and Taoism are inseparable, let alone the extremely pure true essence in his body. It is a good medicine for eliminating various diseases. At the same time, he originally had extremely superb medical skills. In the past 999 reincarnations, Chengyu has not only become a master of medicine in the secular world, but also a master of medicine in the world of immortal cultivation and even in the world of immortals. Okay. Although Chengyu never knew that her youngest son had a massage skill, she still sat down with a smile. No matter how the massage will be later, it is the child's intention after all, and he can't pour cold water on him. Chengyu put his hands on his mother's shoulders, then he skillfully performed various massage methods such as pinching, one-finger zen, plucking, rolling, etc. As he pushed the meridians with his hands, he slowly injected the true essence in his body into his mother's body. Chengyu suddenly felt as if a stream of heat gushed out from her son's hands, making her feel warm and comfortable. As the true energy continued to flow in her mother's body, some small, slightly congested meridians and blood vessels also became unobstructed, because she ate grains and cereals every day. The toxins that remained in her body after metabolism were gradually forced into her stomach and intestines by the true energy. After a cup of tea, Chengyu stopped and stood up, and Chengyu seemed to be still immersed in the soothing massage, and she couldn't wake up for a long time. "Mother, it's over." He shouted softly. Is it done? Chengyu, when did you learn this skill? Why do I feel that it is much better than those professional masseurs? Chengyu finally woke up when she heard her son's voice. I like to study all kinds of random knowledge on the internet recently. I learned this massage from the internet. Chengyu said vaguely. This is not random knowledge. I asked you to massage for a while just now, and I feel like my whole body is relaxed. When your father comes back, you can massage him too. He works much harder than me outside. Chengyu interrupted her youngest son's self-deprecation. Although given their family's environment, even if they learn the skill of massage, it is really not very useful, but it's still good for their family members to use it. Well, when my father comes back, I'll give him a set. In fact, even if his mother didn't say it, Chengyu also planned to use yuan to comb his family's body, especially his father, who has been busy with various family affairs in recent years, must be in much worse health than his mother, but as long as he uses yuan to comb and recuperate for him, he will definitely return to a peak again, just like her mother. After her body functions were infiltrated by the true essence, it was no exaggeration to say that she was 5 years younger. However, due to gender, it was not convenient to give massages to Chengxin and Su Yunman at home. Maybe they could enjoy this treatment only after other people around them felt the powerful effect of their massage. Mom, let's go back now. As far as I know, this massage technique learned from the internet can force toxins in the body into the intestines. Maybe you need to go to the bathroom soon to expel these toxins. Chengyu said to his mother with a smile. It would have been better if he didn't say it. As soon as he said it, Chengyu suddenly felt her stomach churning. You kid! Why didn't you say it earlier? She glared at her youngest son, then trotted towards the villa. Her stomach was churning more and more, and she had to run a few steps. Chengyu looked at his mother and smiled awkwardly. He didn't mean to embarrass his mother. It was just that he hadn't used his true essence to comb the body of a mortal for hundreds of thousands of years, and forgot about it for a while. As the sky darkened, Chengyu stopped strolling and returned to his room. His room was on the second floor of the villa and had a very large area. Not only could he take a bath, but there was also a separate cloakroom and study room. Strictly speaking, this was actually a suite. On the outside of the room was a large balcony. There were some potted plants, a table and a recliner on the balcony. Lying on the chair, looking at the scenery in the manner color will make people feel extra peaceful. However, Chengyu in the past only had simple consciousness and did not have too many emotions, so he could not experience such enjoyment at all, which was a bit in vain. After lying on the chair for a few minutes, Chengyu got up and came to his study. There is a not-so-small bookshelf here. on which various books are placed. There are domestic and foreign literary works, some more profound knowledge, and various messy chicken soup articles. However, most of the books on the bookshelf have never been flipped by Li Chengyu before. The heavy schoolwork on weekdays has exhausted his originally limited thinking, dealing with textbooks and homework all day. There is no other time to read these extracurricular books. If it weren't for Li Chengyu's extremely powerful body due to his practice, I'm afraid that his eyes are now at least 1,000 degrees of myopia due to his extremely hard study. In the study, in addition to this bookshelf, there is also a computer desk with a full sense of technology. On the table was the most powerful personal computer in the world last year, the cool keyboard and mouse, the 55-inch monitor, and the thick chassis all showed that it was expensive. This computer was a birthday gift given to him by his elder brother Li Qinghao last year, but before he regained consciousness, Li Chengyu had basically never used it. If some game addicts knew about its treatment, they would probably be furious. He sat down on the chair in front of the computer desk and turned on the computer. Li Chengyu wanted to learn more about all aspects of this world through computers and the internet. At the same time, he also wanted to test whether the hacking techniques he had mastered in other parallel planes and higher tech planes were still applicable in this world. Li Chengyu first searched for various hacker information in this world, as well as various related hacker techniques and hacker software through various websites, forums, and forums. So as to have a general understanding of the hacker level of this plane, in order to know how much strength he needed to use to crush them. Chapter 12. You are listening at novelfold.audio. Under Li Chengyu's operation, the various pages on the monitor were scrolling at a very fast speed, one after another, jumping non-stop. Soon, he got the information he wanted. At the same time, he also found some different software used by hackers for scanning, intrusion, protection and other functions. With these hacker software, some people with a little computer knowledge can use them to invade some unprotected personal computers or servers. However, in Li Chengyu's view, these hacker software are too simple. No matter how the hackers on the internet praise, in his eyes, it is like a bunch of crosses, worthless. Li Chengyu no longer pays attention to the various contents related to hackers. Instead, he opened a computer age, the lowest level compiler, and then began to tap the keyboard non-stop. He wanted to use this lowest level compiler to create a dedicated programming tool for himself. The rules of this programming tool exclusive to him will be very different from other programming tools on the internet now. Even if it is placed in front of the world's top software engineers, they will be confused. If it is encrypted a little more, it will basically eliminate the possibility of being cracked. Even if others open it, they will only see a mess of garbled characters. Li Chengyu plans to use this programming tool that belongs to him to develop various software suitable for himself. However, this programming tool is not his own innovation, it is a development tool that was originally available in a certain high-tech plane when he was reincarnated in the past. This tool has existed in that plane for thousands of years, but it has never been eliminated. On the contrary, it has become compact, convenient and powerful after continuous optimization by generations of genius programmers. The software developed by it has stable performance and is not easy to crack. Li Chengyu will use it to develop programs in this plane in the future, and it can also be done without leaving traces, safe and reliable. In short, there are many benefits. It is far beyond the popular programming software in the world now. Li Chengyu tapped the keyboard very quickly, and his 10 fingers left a trail of afterimages. If someone stood next to him at this time, it would be impossible to see clearly what he was typing. Fortunately, the configuration of this computer is extremely powerful, otherwise it would be difficult to withstand his speed, and it would be stuck. This is not something that can be practiced by being single for 18 years. Time passed little by little. When Li Chengyu finally completed this programming software that belonged to him, it was already 10 o'clock. He decisively turned off the computer, prepared to wash up, and went to bed. Although young people nowadays rarely go to bed so early, but the night time, for him, is not only sleeping, but also represents practice. In fact, Li Chengyu's practice is going on all the time. Don't think that he has revived his consciousness now, but most of his divine thoughts are still retained in the sea of consciousness, practicing the only one in the world, and the true energy in Li Chengyu's body is also running all the time. However, it is still very important to devote yourself to practice at night. This not only makes cultivation more efficient, but also is a process of organizing and comprehending cultivation. Although Li Chengyu has already made plans to indulge in pleasure in the future today, but it does not mean that he can allow himself to be lazy. Laziness is a blasphemy to cultivation, and it is easy for him to be lazy, so the time for sleeping at night must be devoted to cultivation. As for enjoyment, the time outside of sleeping is enough for Li Chengyu to do all kinds of things. After all, other people in this plane also need to sleep. He just used this sleeping process to do business. Li Chengyu sat cross-legged on the 3 by 3 super-large luxury bed and entered the state of cultivation, and the true energy that was originally running a little slowly in the body suddenly rushed. It wandered around his body, constantly consolidating his foundation and consolidating his foundation. The foundation building realm is to lay the foundation for the cultivator and lay the foundation for climbing to a higher level of cultivation in the future. The more solid the foundation, the easier it is to practice further, and the further you can go on the road to immortality. Unfortunately, Li Chengyu will never have a new breakthrough because of the lack of spiritual energy in this plane. He can only stay in the foundation building stage, and consolidate it again and again. If he was not worried that he would be too lazy to get up, he really wanted to indulge himself completely. When the sun dyed the eastern sky a touch of red. Li Chengyu also finished his practice for the night. Even though he was studying in the top private high school for nobles in Magic City, it did not mean that the class would start later in the morning. He changed his clothes, washed up simply, and went downstairs. At this time, various breakfasts were already placed on the dining table in the restaurant: steamed buns, steamed bread, fried dough sticks, bread, eggs, noodles, milk, soy milk. There were even some side dishes. The breakfast at Li Chengyu's house was so simple and unpretentious. He picked up a big meat bun and ate it with side dishes and soy milk. When he had finished 3 buns, 2 eggs, and a fried dough stick, he felt almost full. Li Chengxin and Su Yunman hurried to the restaurant. My sister was a little late in getting up and was slow to clean up, so she only walked into the restaurant now. Su Yunman got up earlier, even earlier than Li Chengyu, but she needed to practice the family's traditional Chinese martial arts every day, so she wasted a lot of time. Fortunately, the Li family had prepared breakfast for them in advance, so they didn't need to wait and could eat directly. If it was too late, they could take the breakfast and eat it after getting in the car, but today's time was good, at least enough for the two of them to finish breakfast and go to school, and still not be late. The 3 of them took a Mercedes-Benz commercial vehicle and arrived at Chengyu Middle School. All they saw along the way were students in a hurry, and some students hadn't finished their breakfast yet. While jogging, they stuffed their mouths hard. Well, this is the taste of youth. Not long after Li Chengyu and Su Yunman entered the classroom, the bell for morning self-study rang. Today is the penultimate monthly exam before the college entrance examination, which is very important for most senior high school students. However, these students do not include everyone in class 313, at least in the classroom. There is no tension at all now. There were only 3 or 5 students who took the time to review, for example, Su Yunman and Zhao Mingxian. Chapter 13. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Speaking of which, Zhao Mingxian really took the bet with Li Chengyu very seriously. In the previous monthly exams, he played and laughed like most other students in the class. He didn't care much about the test results at all, but this time, even though he thought he was destined to win the bet, he still worked hard to sharpen his gun. The other students around him were a little surprised. Is this the lion fighting the rabbit with all its strength? Do you, Fatty Zhao, have to be so serious? Li Chengyu didn't care much about the disturbances in the class. He even lost interest in learning. After all, he knew all the contents of the textbooks. What's more, he brushed more than 10 extracurricular tutoring books yesterday, which covered all the knowledge that could be covered in the college entrance examination. In addition, Li Chengyu's brain, like a supercomputer, deduced these knowledge and drew inferences from one example. He can now confidently say that he is not afraid of any high school exams. During the slightly noisy morning self-study time, Li Chengyu is playing with a smartphone that was just launched not long ago to kill time. Smartphones in this dimension have only been around for 4 or 5 years, although they are already widely used among young people, but in Li Chengyu's opinion, this smartphone is still not very mature, whether in terms of hardware performance or appearance design. It is somewhat unsatisfactory. Even the software is also inconvenient to use. Li Chengyu opened the application store on his mobile phone and found that although there seemed to be a lot of apps in it, there were not many that could fight. For example, the GG communication tool that users downloaded the most times is just their computer terminal directly on the mobile phone. Various redundant functions, huge size, wish it was an app, and it would use up the entire mobile phone's memory. For example, the music software ranked first in downloads actually comes with various messy functions such as games, social networking, novels, etc. But its most important music function has not even opened user reviews. Do you think it's infuriating? For another example, Chengyu searched the App Store for a long time and didn't find a reliable video software. The only thing he could find was a player. If you want to watch a video on your mobile phone, you need to download the video to your mobile phone first, and then use these players to open it before you can watch it. Of course, Chengyu can still understand the video, mainly because the mobile network speed is too poor. It is still the 3G era and can't support online videos at all. Finally, the various games in the App Store are really too bad and there is no playability at all. Do the young people in this world have to be so miserable? Chengyu took a casual look and found a lot of business opportunities on his mobile phone, especially when the country is promoting the upcoming 4G era. These business opportunities are even more huge outlets. Should I seize these opportunities and build a business empire of my own? Well, will this be too tiring? Chengyu supported his chin with one hand and casually swiped the screen of his mobile phone with the other hand. But in this life, I have already planned a plan for the second half of my life to indulge in pleasure. If my enjoyment depends on the money sponsored by my family, it seems that I won't be too happy to spend it. And even if I have enough money, if I don't have enough power and status, I will be easily harassed by all kinds of cats and dogs during the enjoyment process. Forget it. Do it. Everything is for better enjoyment in the future. At worst, like the 576th reincarnation, after building a business empire, let the female secret arts run them. I just need to sit behind the scenes and control the overall situation. Chengyu's eyes flashed with a gleam of light, and he made another decision in the noisy classroom. It was precisely because of his decision that many bigwigs could not even get a piece of good meat when the mobile era arrived. However, if you want to build a business empire, you also need a lot of startup capital. The more than 20 million pocket money I have accumulated in the past 18 years is not enough to spend. Well, it seems that I still have to rely on the old routine to make money first. Chengyu picked up the smartphone and typed the word stock trading in the App Store. 3 or 4 stock trading software popped up on the screen at once. He casually clicked on the top-ranked stock trading software and entered the download state. It's just that the progress bar is a bit slow. The software with a size of just over 100 megabytes took him half a day to download. It took Chengyu hours to download. Chengyu opened the app called Tonghua Fortune, and then entered all his information into it to complete the registration. Then he started to bind his bank card and transferred all the savings in the card into it, leaving no penny. Chengyu took a look and found that the pocket money his family gave him over the years was really not a small amount. Adding the bank interest, he accumulated a total of 26,154,527.91 yuan. Most of it was given by the Li family, and a small part was given by his mother's Yi family. Although Chengyu looked a little stupid in the past, his family's attention to him made those relatives and friends not look down on him. Whenever pocket money and New Year's money were given to his brother and sister, he would also have a share, and all this money was stored in Chengyu's bank card by his mother Yi Hongyu. For 18 years, he didn't spend a penny, and it should be said that he had no consciousness of spending money before. Now, it's time for them to come in handy. In some of the immortal worlds where Chengyu had reincarnated, he was known as a divine fortune teller. He could roughly calculate the target person's location, current status, and future fortune with simple information. He could basically calculate it almost accurately. This was because Chengyu was extremely lucky when he reincarnated for the 859th time and accidentally obtained a copy of the Heavenly Calculation Sutra. It can be said to be the top secret book in terms of calculation. Later, even if Chengyu reincarnated many times in different immortal planes, he had never seen a more powerful secret book than it. It was precisely because of its help that Chengyu was able to turn danger into safety in the more than 100 reincarnations that followed, and obtain various precious opportunities, step by step climbing to the limit that the world can bear. In the plane where Chengyu is currently located, using the Heavenly Calculation Sutra to calculate the future stock trends of listed companies is even more accurate. Chapter 14. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Although Li Qingyu's cultivation is not high, he is just at the foundation building stage, which is just about to enter the threshold of the immortal path, but he can get more and more accurate information in the stock market, which greatly reduces the difficulty of calculation. These listed companies will publicly disclose their operating conditions to shareholders on a daily basis, and all kinds of data are on the table. Even those financial professionals who don't know magic can infer the market trends of these companies in the next period of time through various information and big data comparison, and Li Qingyu has experienced more than a dozen parallel worlds similar to the current plane. He has extremely rich experience in the stock market, even more than those top financial professionals in this plane. They have much richer stock trading experience. Combined with his supercomputer-like brain and the assistance of Tian Suan Jing, it is too easy to make money in the stock market. Li Qingyu's fingers kept swiping quickly on the screen of his mobile phone, checked the information of each listed company and the data they disclosed, from time to time, searched the internet for industry news related to these companies and their comparison with other companies in the same industry. Time passed by little, when the morning self-study was over and the bell for the monthly exam rang. Li Qingyu had already added the stocks of 3 listed companies to the self-selected list of Tonghua Wealth app. However, the market has not opened yet, so he cannot directly purchase these 3 stocks. This is our second-to-last monthly exam before the college entrance examination. Although it is not the college entrance examination, we should treat it as a real college entrance examination. Everyone should adjust their mentality and try their best to fully exert their learning level. Okay, no more nonsense, start handing out the papers. After the invigilator finished speaking, he gave the test papers to the students in the first row and divided them, asking them to pass them one by one. The invigilator for this monthly exam is not the teacher of class 313, in order to show the importance of this monthly exam and to demonstrate a more fair exam atmosphere. The school arranged for teachers from each class to cross-invigilate. The first subject is Chinese, with a total score of 150 points and a test time of 2 hours. After Li Qingyu got the test paper, he glanced at it and began to write furiously. With just a glance, all the answers in this test paper have already emerged in his mind. Back, various multiple-choice questions and fill-in-the-blank questions. He checked and answered them without stopping. If someone noticed Li Qingyu's way of answering questions, they would definitely think that he either memorized the answers in advance or wrote them randomly. Otherwise, why didn't he even look at the questions and just filled in the answers directly? More than 10 minutes later, except for the composition, Li Qingyu had already filled in all the answers, and even filled in the answer sheet. He still didn't stop, continued to write quickly, and began to write the composition. Li Qingyu wrote very quickly, with a feeling of flowing like clouds and water, but the handwriting was extremely neat, with a unique charm hidden in it. The title of the composition for this monthly exam is, People's Technology. Time. Humans are able to better control time because of the development of science and technology, but in real life, many people have become slaves of time. What do you think about this? Please write an article of more than 800 words. What do you think? Isn't this talking about the blessing of 996? Of course, if you really write about the blessing, then you lose. Facing the exam-oriented education, Li Qingyu did not deliberately try to be different, but explained from the perspective of how people should arrange time, control time, and demonstrate human self-worth. Just over 20 minutes later, a brilliant, far-sighted and amazing article almost filled in the blanks on the test paper. Li Qingyu directly picked up the test paper, stood up and walked to the podium, then handed in the paper and left. Only a look of shock, surprise, or as expected was left in the classroom. Fuck, it's only been half an hour since the exam started. Handing in the paper so soon. Isn't it a bit too arrogant? Didn't Li Qingyu always wait until the end of the exam before handing in his paper? How come he was the first to hand in his paper this time? It seems that he also thinks that he can't possibly be my opponent in this exam, so he completely gave up. The young master has really changed, and I don't know if this change is good or bad. In fact, Li Qingyu's quick handing in of his paper and not letting the test go is not very stable. According to the normal way he should in this monthly exam, each subject has a relatively large but not exaggerated improvement. At the same time, you need to wait until the exam time is almost over, or completely over before handing in the paper. In this way, when his final monthly exam results come out. Although people around him will be a little surprised, they can also understand him. According to Li Qingyu's current practice, when the test results come out, he is very likely to be questioned by many parties, suspecting whether he cheated in the exam. But after many reincarnations, Li Qingyu does not want to live in various concerns. Life is to be free and easy. And even if someone really finds fault afterwards, he has his own way to deal with it. It is more important to find a place to deal with stocks now. There is no need to waste time in the classroom for this exam. The invigilator was quite surprised at Li Qingyu's behavior of handing in the paper so quickly. Generally, even if the students' grades are poor, they will not hand in the paper so early when taking the Chinese test. As long as they fill in the blanks on the test paper and the content is slightly related, the examiner will usually give some points, and Chinese is also the best source of points for poor students. Could it be that this student has completely given up on himself? So he doesn't care about the score at all. The invigilator looked at Li Qingyu's back through his thick glasses for a while, then he glanced at the test paper he handed in. This handwriting? Good. Wonderful. None of the teachers in Chengyu Middle School is simple. They are all famous teachers who were dug up from all over the country by headhunters at a high price. Not only are they good at teaching, but their own knowledge is also quite profound. The invigilator looked at the handwriting on the Chinese test paper and was immediately fascinated. He had also been tinkering with calligraphy for a while, and even observed the calligraphy works of many masters. When he saw the test paper submitted by Li Qingyu, he immediately felt that the handwriting on it was no worse than those calligraphy masters. 8-sided tip, hard and soft, using both the middle and the side, and completed in one go. This artistic conception and this stroke, after careful feeling, it is not an exaggeration to say that it has surpassed those calligraphy masters. Impossible. Absolutely impossible. How can a little high school student surpass those calligraphy masters in calligraphy? It must be that my calligraphy appreciation level is not enough. I will show it to Principal Zhang to judge the true level of this student. If he was not invigilating now, he would have wanted to take the test paper directly to Principal Zhang. Principal Zhang is the vice principal in charge of teaching at Chengyu Middle School. At the same time, he is also the executive director of the Magic City Calligraphers Association and has studied calligraphy. This composition? Good. Wonderful. If he hadn't worried about disturbing the students taking the exam in the classroom, the invigilator would have wanted to applaud. Even so, when he carefully read Li Qingyu's composition, his eyebrows were dancing with joy, and the corners of his mouth were almost pulled to his ears. Chapter 15. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The invigilator seemed not to be reading an essay, but to be observing the works of a certain literary saint. Exciting, breathtaking, concise, and every word is a pearl. He was completely immersed in the artistic conception of Li Qingyu's article and couldn't extricate himself. However, Li Qingyu would not be indifferent to his test paper and how it would shock and trouble the invigilator. After leaving the classroom, he found a shady place on campus and sat down. Then he continued to browse the Tonghua Wealth app. After browsing the news for a while, it was finally time for the stock market to open. The 3 stocks that had been added to the self-selected list revealed a verdant green. A large amount of funds were fleeing from it, and the situation looked quite bad. The stock that fell the most had already turned green by more than 5 points. The remaining 2 stocks turned green by 3 points and 2 points respectively. However, according to the multi-party information collected by Li Qingyu and the results inferred by the Tian Suan Jing, these 3 stocks will reach a turning point during the lunch break and reveal extremely favorable data. When the market opens again in the afternoon, the stock price will be pulled up crazily until the daily limit, and the daily limit will continue until the day after tomorrow, until the weekend. There is nothing to say. Li Qingyu began to mobilize funds and buy these 3 stocks in batches. Among them, the one that fell the most was also bought the most. Before the morning break, he invested more than 15 million, and the remaining 2 stocks, a total of more than 11 million were invested. The little balance left in Li Qingyu's account is not enough to buy one more hand. If nothing unexpected happens, the 26 million funds will help him get about 40% of the profit when Friday comes. In other words, Li Qingyu's funds will reach more than 37 million at that time. Well, although it is still a little less, but after more than 2 weeks of tossing, it will exceed 100 million. when the college entrance examination is over and the holiday comes in more than a month, Li Qingyu's assets should be around 300 million, although 300 million is still not a lot. It is enough for him to start his own project. Most importantly, the project will not use up all the 300 million funds at once. Later, a considerable part of them will still maintain a high growth trend in the stock market, providing him with a steady stream of funds. Yes, Li Qingyu plans to start his entrepreneurial journey in this plane after the college entrance examination. In the past 999 reincarnations, he has started many businesses and even repeatedly became the most powerful tycoon in the previous plane. So he is full of confidence in this business and has no pressure at all, especially Li Qingyu's family background after this rebirth is not bad. Whether it is his only family or his mother's Yi family, they should be able to give him some help in starting a business, thus saving all kinds of tedious details. Although all the money has been invested in the stock market, Li Qingyu has not stopped picking stocks. After all, he will sell all the 3 stocks he just bought after they hit the daily limit again this Friday, and then buy new stocks. Now find more and add them to your favorites. After they are sold on Friday, you can continue to trade directly. Anyway, there is enough time today, so it doesn't matter if you find a few more stocks. Li Qingyu just sat in the corner of the campus, swiping his phone alone. When lunchtime was approaching, there were nearly 20 stocks in his favorite stocks. He turned off the screen of his phone, put it in his pocket, and walked towards the cafeteria leisurely. Since it was not time to leave school yet, there were not many students eating in the cafeteria. In addition to Li Qingyu, there were also those senior high school students who were taking the monthly exam like him. Well, they were basically his classmates in class 313. Most of the students in the first 12 classes were quite stable, even if they had good grades. They generally would not do things like handing in their papers early. Even if the exam time is over, he will stay in the classroom to continue studying instead of wandering around the campus and eating in the cafeteria in advance. Li Qingyu carried the meal tray and picked out today's lunch while walking. In the end, he got himself a king crab, a steak, a few vegetables and a relatively light mushroom soup. He swiped his card to spend more than 2,000. Master, why did you hand in the paper so early today? That when Li Qingyu finished the steak and ate half of the king crab, Su Yunman also came over with a meal tray. She still ate relatively simple: steak, a few prawns, 2 vegetables, and a bowl of rice. I handed in the paper after I finished it. It's not very meaningful to stay in the classroom. Li Qingyu answered her question while fiddled with his king crab legs. When he took the king crab, he didn't ask the waiter for scissors, so he peeled the crab legs with his bare hands. The very hard and thick crab shell was gently pinched by him, and a crack appeared along the long crab legs. Then gently bend and shake, and a complete crab leg meat came out directly. This is much more convenient and faster than using scissors. Li Qingyu put the crab stick on Su Yunman's plate, and then continued to fiddle with the next one. Su Yunman was a little overwhelmed by the young master's action. Although the young master had a good relationship with her in the past, he had never done things like picking up food for her, let alone peeling crabs. This made Su Yunman forget all the questions she had in her mind. Eat. Don't worry, I know what I'm doing. Li Qingyu stuffed the crab sticks he had peeled again into his mouth. The sweet taste made him feel a little happy. Yeah. Su Yunman nodded and joined the group eating. After the two of them finished lunch, Li Qingyu let her go back to the classroom alone, while he strolled around the campus. In fact, after he walked around Chengyu Middle School yesterday, there was nothing good to see. The reason why Li Qingyu wanted to stroll around again was not to digest food, but to practice martial arts. Now it has only been a short day since his spiritual consciousness recovered. His control over his body is far from 100%. If Li Qingyu fights with others now, he can only exert 60% of the potential of this body at most. This is a huge waste for him. Although in this plane, even if he only exerts 10% of his strength, he can easily crush all opponents. But if he does not control his body, he will always feel uncomfortable. Chapter 16. You are listening at novelfull.audio. In fact, not only Li Qingyu failed to fully control his body, but it should be said that everyone in this plane failed to fully control their bodies. For example, ordinary people can only exert about 12% to 30% of their potential. The current world record for weightlifting is 263.5 kilograms, but what is the theoretical maximum that humans can lift? A full 5,000 kilograms. P.S. I checked the data. each muscle fiber in the human body can generate about 0.3 newtons of force, and convert it to every square centimeter of muscle tissue, that is a full 100 newtons of force, which is about 10 kilograms. If we use the muscles in our arms to carry half of the weight of the object when lifting weights, the shoulders, hips, and legs of the body share the other half of the force. In theory, you can grab a weight of 5,000 kilograms, of course, if you really grab such a heavy object. The hard bones of humans may not be able to withstand such pressure and break and shatter, but in general, every human has great potential. At least it is far from the appearance that moving a bucket of water is a struggle. In fact, Chengyu also discovered it. In this plane, there are still a group of humans who can exert their own strength far greater than ordinary people, for example, those martial arts masters. Although Su Yun Man, who lives with him every day, is only in the Ming Jin stage, but her control over her body is far beyond the reach of those ordinary people. In addition, through training, her muscle strength and bone strength are slightly higher than those of ordinary people, so in a real fight, even 7 or 8 ordinary strong men will not be her opponents. The Ming Jin stage can already achieve this. Think about how the In Jin masters and Hua Jin masters in this plane are like entering a no man's land when facing ordinary people. 1 beats 10, easily. The way Chengyu exercises his body control ability is very simple. He just needs to keep moving. Of course, his movement is just an act in the eyes of ordinary people. If it were those cultivators above the Jindan stage, they would be able to see the charm of Chengyu's walking. Every step he took was full of strength in his body, but these strengths did not pass through the skin and out of the body, but always circulated in the body. This force is neither true chi nor true essence, but just pure physical strength, by exercising the control of one's own body. In this way, not only can the time be greatly shortened, at the same time, it can also improve the strength of the body to a certain extent, but to achieve this step, it is impossible for ordinary foundation-building cultivators to achieve it. If they exercise the control of their own body in this way, they will be seriously injured at best, and their meridians will be broken and they will die at worst. Even those cultivators in the Jindan and Yuanying stages have to be cautious when using it. However, Chengyu has practiced for millions of years in his previous 999 reincarnations and has reached a very high level of cultivation. Coupled with the extremely pure and powerful spiritual consciousness, he can be said to be very familiar with this method of training. When the afternoon class was about to start, Chengyu had already increased his control over his physical body to 65%, 5 percentage points is already quite good. He nodded with satisfaction and walked towards the classroom of class 313. The monthly exam this afternoon was on science and mathematics. Well, this is much easier than Chinese. After the test papers were distributed, Chengyu glanced and started to tick: single choice questions, multiple choice questions, fill in the blank questions. Swish. 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 In less than a minute, he had already flipped through the test paper several times. Compared with Chinese, the strokes required to fill in the math test paper are really much less. Even if some big questions require writing the steps to solve the problem, it is still very easy. Without any need to draft and think, Chengyu filled in the entire math test paper in less than 10 minutes. Then, he spent another 2 minutes filling in the answer sheet. Well, done. He stood up and handed in the paper without any delay, and there was no need to check for mistakes. Chengyu's exaggerated behavior not only stunned the invigilator sitting in front of the podium. It also made the other students in the classroom open their mouths and stare at him blankly. Invigilator, these students in class 313, it's really like a piece of mud that can't be helped. Only a few minutes have passed. I'm afraid he only answered the multiple choice questions on the test paper. At most, he randomly filled in some fill-in-the-blank questions. In this short time, he didn't even have time to look at the big questions. The invigilator was quite disdainful in his heart, but there was no emotion on his face. The students in this school are either rich or noble, and they are not people he can mock at will. If he really wants to mock, he can only hide it deep in his heart. Fuck, what's wrong with Chengyu? He handed in the paper quickly in the morning, and he handed it in even faster in the afternoon. It's over. This kid was stimulated by Fatty Zhao and went crazy. He used to be such an honest kid, but he's gone forever. Fatty Zhao is not a human. He really went too far this time. Humph, Chengyu, wait a few days and slap yourself in front of the whole class. This is the result of you hitting me. Wasn't it Fatty Zhao who got beaten yesterday? Why do I feel that Li Chengyu was the one who got more stimulated? Young master, the students in class 313 looked at Li Chengyu's back as he left the classroom, and different thoughts came to their minds. As the protagonist, Li Chengyu didn't care what the group of people behind him were thinking. He continued to exercise his control over his body bit by bit according to his plan. At present, his control over his body is about 65%, and Li Chengyu's ultimate goal is to increase his control to about 85%, as for 100%. It's impossible at this stage. That requires not only a strong spiritual consciousness, but also an extremely pure body. In the past 999 reincarnations, Li Chengyu first achieved 100% control over his body after he survived the heavenly tribulation and shed his mortal body, and if the spiritual energy of the heaven and earth in this plane always maintains the current concentration, then he would only be in the foundation building stage, and there would be no chance for him to survive the heavenly tribulation and shed his mortal body. It would be even more impossible for him to fully control his body. Chapter 20. You are listening at novelfull.audio. There are 4 subjects in the monthly exam: Chinese, mathematics, English, and comprehensive science, except for Chinese, which is a little troublesome for Li Chengyu because he has to write more strokes. The other 3 subjects are quite easy. With a glance, all the questions and answers in this test paper are clear in mind. CDBCC, the entire English test paper, multiple choice questions occupy a considerable space, and it is not too easy to tick them. Even the English composition only needs 150 words, compared with the Chinese composition of more than 800 words. This is really a piece of cake. It only took 10 minutes to finish all the questions. It took another 3 minutes to fill in the answer sheet. Steady. When she stood up to hand in the paper, the beautiful female teacher didn't come back to her senses. She thought there was something wrong with Li Chengyu's test paper, so she wanted to take it over to change. Who knew that after the other party handed her the test paper, she left the classroom directly. The other students in the classroom were left with a look of amazement. I didn't expect Li Chengyu to hand in the paper so quickly after a night. He really wasn't sleepwalking yesterday. It's useless. This kid is really useless. Did he just randomly tick the answers? Should I do the same as him? My score in this exam will be 10 times higher than yours. I just want to make you give up on yourself and make you a real waste in the future. Young master, Li Chengyu didn't care about the trouble he caused to others by handing in the paper too early. He wanted to continue strolling around the campus today and practice his control over his body. Yesterday at noon and in the afternoon, he raised his control from 60% to 68%. This great improvement also made him very motivated. Li Chengyu started exercising in the morning and continued until lunchtime before going to the cafeteria for lunch. Today, because of the large amount of exercise, he took a little more food at noon. In addition to a king crab, 3 steaks, a pork elbow, and some vegetables, he also prepared a large bowl of rice. This amount of food is not much different from Qian Si Miao, who weighs more than 300 kilograms. Su Yunman, who came to the cafeteria later and ate with him, showed an extremely surprised look. The young master has really changed a lot in the past few days. Not only has his work style changed, but also his appetite has changed. Although Li Chengyu had a large appetite before, he had never been as gluttonous as this. Why? Should I share some with you? He saw Su Yunman looking at him with a surprised look, so he put a peeled crab leg into her bowl. He also gave her a piece of his steak. No. I've had enough. Su Yunman waved her hands repeatedly, returned the steak to him, and began to eat. Seeing this, Li Chengyu also opened his mouth and continued to eat. He did not feel that he ate a lot or ate extravagantly. These foods were just enough to make him full and satisfied. Moreover, Li Chengyu, who had embarked on the path of cultivating immortals, would not gain weight no matter how much he ate. These foods would eventually be quickly digested and absorbed by him, after the 2 of them finished lunch. Su Yunman walked towards the classroom, while he continued to stroll around the campus. The comprehensive science exam in the afternoon did not delay Li Chengyu too much time. A test paper with 300 points was more than enough to be completed in more than 20 minutes. Then he went outside the classroom again and continued to exercise. It was not until the bell rang in the afternoon that he finally stopped strolling and walked towards the parking lot of Chengyu Middle School. Chengyu exercised almost all day today, but the effect was not as good as the half-day yesterday. He only increased the control of his body by another 3 percentage points, standing at 71%. But this is all expected. In a few days, the effect of Chenyu's exercise will not reach even 1 percentage point. To achieve his goal of 85%, it will take at least 2 or 3 years. However, Chenyu's mentality is very stable, not impatient. After all, 2 or 3 years is nothing compared to the thousands or tens of thousands of years of seclusion he spent in some fairy plains. Brother, the exam is over. Do you feel a little relieved? Chenyu, Li Qingxin, and Su Yunman took a business car and headed home. In the car, the younger sister asked him about his feelings about the exams in the past 2 days. I didn't feel relaxed a little bit. On the contrary, I feel that I feel more relaxed during the exam than usual. Li Qingyu said with a smile. After all, this exam will not delay him too much, and he will be free most of the time. If there is no exam, he needs to stay in the classroom all the time. Do you think the exam is easy? Didn't you hate exams the most before? You also said that every time you do questions, your head is about to explode. Li Qingxin asked in surprise. This answer from her second brother was not the answer she wanted. Maybe I suddenly got it. Those questions that I thought were difficult in the past have suddenly become easy. Li Qingyu asked back, and his statement not only surprised Li Qingxin, even Su Yunman next to him showed an expression that she didn't know what to say. No matter how easy the questions are, it's impossible to finish them all in 10 or 20 minutes, right? The young master has really changed, and he has started to be a little slick. Compared to Su Yunman, who only complained in her heart, Li Qingxin was much more straightforward. Although I feel that you, second brother, seem to have some signs of enlightenment these days. You have become much more energetic and free and easy. But can your academic performance also be enlightened all of a sudden? Isn't it all based on accumulation over time? It's impossible that your previous monthly exam scores were only more than 300 points, and you can jump to 500 points this time. Li Qingxin thought that her second brother was just bragging. She wanted to stop this bad habit. Of course it can't be 500 points this time. You will know the specific score next week. Li Qingyu continued to say with a smile. Humph, you have learned to keep people in suspense. Look at you. She glanced at her second brother. She began to miss his silly look. The three of them joked along the way and soon returned to the Li family. After enjoying a very sumptuous dinner with their mother, Li Qingxin and Su Yunman went back to their rooms. Li Qingyu and Yi Hongyu strolled around the manor again.